Well, people, you need help with dating? First dates casually explained. My first dates usually go okay, but haven't really found anybody serious yet. But they usually go okay, you know. First dates they usually go good, unless you get like some crazy person. So let me help y'all out. There's these things we call red flags. In case you don't know, a red flag is when it's like, you know what, that's not right. Example, you go on a date with a girl, she's like, oh, so, like, I don't know why she would say this, but I have daddy issues. That's a red flag. I sleep in my car. That might be a red flag. I'm a homicidal maniac. That's a red flag. See, anything that's not good is like, okay, I mean, it's not gonna be like newsworthy where you just be like, you know what, I don't want to talk to you no more. But you know, it's something you want to think about for the future.
Damn it! You know what this is? You know what this is? You! I swear to you!
So now she already told you that she's crazy, so now you know. So in like 5 dates, and she keys your car, you can't be like, oh man, she keyed my car. You be like, well, that first date she did tell me she was crazy. You see what I'm saying? Red flags. Keep that in mind. Anyways, enough rambling. I'm here. You here. I had a video. Like, subscribe. Like, subscribe. DM me on Instagram and Twitter. I messed up. All right. Instagram. Check it out.
First dates are very exciting, but also stressful for everyone involved. For guys, for girls, and for any nosy bystanders who can't mind their own business. And as one of those people, I wanted to create this as a bit of a primer for first dates, whether you've never been on a date before and want to know what to expect, or if you're a veteran of the dating scene and just want to figure out what's wrong with you. So of course, before you even go on a first date, you have to ask someone out. And there's a million ways to do that.
Yes.
In person, over the internet, that's pretty much it really. But you either get a yes or a no, and it's as simple as that. And the good news is that if you do get a yes, you're already ahead of the game because the other person is saying they like you, or at the very least you're passably better than a vacant time slot. Now, the first consideration is, of course, where you're going to go and what you're going to do. And in my opinion, you should really choose a date activity that reflects how well you know the other person. Like if you met by limp-wristedly flicking your index finger across a cracked iPhone, then there's nothing wrong with ice cream and a walk in the park because we all know you're there to see how they eat soft serve. On the other hand, if you've been platonic friends for 5 years hoping your next haircut is the one that will tip them over the edge, you better have a lot of alcohol planned because your current personality just isn't cutting it. So the most classic date idea is, of course, dinner and a movie. But unless you interpret that with multiple layers of euphemism, it's a bit cliche for a first date and a bit too reminiscent of its old school origin, which is getting married before you're 22, raising a family, and making God proud, which just isn't up to date with today's poor and sinful youth. I think your best bet is going with coffee, drinks, or a quick bite to eat, but it doesn't hurt to eventually try to expand your repertoire. I think it's a really smart idea to come up with fun activities that you can do together so you can focus on doing the activity instead of worrying about what to say. A few of my favorites include drunk paint night, drunk baking, drunk Lego, and drunk stand-up comedy. The common element being, of course, they're all things I do when I'm alone. Now, that brings us to the real nitty-gritty of a first date, which is how you're supposed to act. And you might have heard the old classic turn of phrase, just be yourself. And this is a terrible idea for a multiplicity of reasons, but what I think it really means, and should be said more explicitly, is that you shouldn't pretend to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
So if they're like, oh, what do you do in your spare time? And you like to play video games, then say, I like to play video games. Don't make shit up to try to sound cool, and besides, how you talk about something is way more important than what you're talking about. Even if you're into something like coin collecting, you could be like, I like coin collecting. Did you know that just by holding one in my hand, I can tell you the year that any 10-cent coin was produced? And when they say, what, really? Why only 10-cent coins? You can say, because I only date dimes. And then you show them your YouTube channel.
I fell for that one. I didn't know where he was going with the thing. I didn't know where he was going with that one. That was good. Alright. And then you showed your YouTube channel. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. If I ever do that on a date, I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna tell you, alright.
The old 1-2 works every time. Now, unrelated, at a certain point you reach a difficult moment, which is figuring out if the date is going well, and girls and guys have their own distinct problems in this department. And from asking girls about their experiences on dates, the most common thing that seems to happen is thinking either, wow, why isn't he making a move? Or, oh shit, he thinks this is a date. On the flip side, the most common thing for guys to think is, I don't have a clue what's going on. Which actually explains just about everything. So if you do find yourself confused in the moment, you just have to triangulate those perspectives and Sigmund Freud yourself deep in their psyche to figure it out. And if that doesn't work, you can say you like them and see what happens. So very presumptuously, assuming the date went well, wherever you are, it's time to settle up the bill and leave. Now, in today's day and age, guys are often confused as to whether or not they should be paying or splitting the bill or what. And really, the only person I know who said, well, he was great, but didn't pay for dinner, so that's a no, is my mum. So don't make a joke about that unless you pay for her meal. Sorry, Jen, you asked for this. But don't worry too much about it. If you're the one who asks them out, offer to pay. They might offer to split, and then it'll be awkward for a few sentences, but you guys will figure it out. Now, this is really the part where it gets interesting, because after you walk to the most proximal waypoint between both of your houses, you're going to stand there for about 5 seconds, glance down at your feet for a second, and say, yeah, so, and then you have to talk about your feelings. So what do you do? Do you set up a second date? Do you go for a kiss? Do you invite them to your place? Do you walk them home? Or do you kind of sit on the curb, talk for 2 hours, and then go home because you're both too scared to be emotionally vulnerable? I think at the very least you should leave saying you had fun and want to get together again, or get out of there and let them down softly with a text pretending it's you when it's really them. Now, I know what you're all thinking, casually explained. What do you think of people hooking up on a first date? And as long as you're not my neighbor and are both down with it, I couldn't care less. Nowadays it seems like everyone is having sex before holding hands anyway. But with that said, while I'm not judging you for busting out the strap-on from day one, God certainly is. So, you know, light a candle. Don't call them daddy. Call them father. Don't finish with hallelujah. Finish with a condom. Just the obvious, really. You'll be fine.
Why? I don't know. I don't understand the last part. What happened? Okay. First dates. First dates. That was funny. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself. Wish it was longer. It's only 5 minutes. It's exactly 5 minutes. If you have any first date, I'm gonna say questions because I'm not really good at answering questions like that, but I'm alright. Well, if you have any like first date experiences, you know, what happened on your first date? Well, the craziest first date you ever been on. I have a couple. It was crazy. It wasn't that bad. It didn't go well though. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. DM me on Instagram and Twitter. See you in the next video.
And when they say, what, really? Why only 10-cent coins? You can say, because I only date dimes. And then you show them your YouTube channel. The old 1-2 works every time.